Hi everyone, and welcome back to Open Here with me, Enby Andy, for another episode of my YouTube channel. As usual, this episode and this channel is an avenue for people to question things on gender, things on sexuality, anything to do with being queer and different lifestyles. So we get questions sent in by you, the viewers, and we will go through and answer them openly and honestly. And the main aim is to challenge misconceptions, show the challenges that non-binary people face in the UK, and to make everything a bit of a better place, really. So we've got 3 questions sent in by the viewers for this episode. So the first question is, under socialism, would polyamory be the norm? The next question is, what questions have my kids asked me? And then finally, is it okay to include non-binary people in gendered events like International Women's Day? So they're pretty good questions, and we'll go through them step by step. Starting on question 1 then, under socialism, would polyamory be the norm? Now, I'll answer this by saying, first of all, I'm not a scholar. I'll answer from my feelings, I'll answer from my understanding, but I'm not citing any records or any kind of debates or academic research. So for those that don't know, I am a socialist. I worked hard under Jeremy Corbyn to get Labour elected as a democratic socialist government, and although I'm no longer a member of the Labour Party, I'm still a socialist. And I am also polyamorous, or ethically non-monogamous. I do try and stay away from using the term ethically non-monogamous, because straight away society is deeming that non-monogamy is not ethical. And again, I think that's something we're going to dive into in a moment. There's no reason for being non-monogamous to be unethical, as long as it's done in the right way, with consent and open and honesty. So, capitalism. Boo, first of all. Most people aren't capitalists. Most people don't own any capital. The only thing that you have to sell is your body, your work, and I think most people misunderstand that. So you're not a capitalist, you are a worker. So under socialism, would polyamory be the norm? Because under capitalism, monogamy is the norm. In fact, capitalism in the society at the moment only really recognises monogamy as the norm and acceptable. I mean, for example, marriage, you're only allowed to marry one person, under the guise of loyalty. If, for example, you split that, if you twisted that, if you spun it round and said that you're only allowed to have one friend, you're only allowed to have feelings for one person in a certain way, you're only allowed to have one friend, anything else is disloyal, that's not allowed. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? I believe under PolyAm, under E&M, that I don't think love and feelings can have to be just about one person. I believe that you can love more than one person in a similar way, and it doesn't dilute the love that you have for other people. As humans, we're more than capable of having the same type of love for multiple people, whether that's for friends, whether that's for family, and for lovers as well. Polyamory doesn't take away the fact that you love someone, it just means that you're able to have feelings for multiple people, and it's not expecting one person to be able to provide everything that you need as a human to feel good. And it's just an unselfish way of having relationships, I believe. So would polyamory be normal under socialism? I don't think normal would be the term. I think it would be more accepted and be more common. And I think the reason behind, as I mentioned, capitalism does push monogamy as the sole accepted way of doing relationships. Like, say, you only marry one person. And capitalism benefits from having the nuclear family. It's not having big communities all together. They want people broke up into small groups of people who you can rely on, rather than having one big community, which humans are meant to have. Meant to have extended families and extended friendships and extended relationships. If you are having a nuclear relationship with 2.4 children, you're very cut off and isolated, and you do your job. You go home and that's it. Whether polyamory would be the norm under socialism, I don't think it would be normal. not that it wouldn't be normal, but it wouldn't be as, what's the word I'm looking for here? It wouldn't be looked down upon as much. It would be an accepted form of relationship, I believe. And why not? Why can't you be polyamorous? And there's a lot of people I spoke to who understand, who've never really considered it, and who believe, yeah, it's a perfectly valid way to have relationships, and there's no reason why you can't have it. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. There is brilliant articles online about this type of thing, about the links between capitalism and the links between monogamy, and how capitalism benefits from that. And yeah, do some research, have a look, and I believe that we should accept more non-monogamy, more polyamorous lifestyles, because don't feel bad for loving more than one person, because why should you? Loving someone is a brilliant thing, and you shouldn't feel guilty for doing that. So question number 2, what questions have my kids asked me? Oh, multiple questions, so many questions. They're full of questions looking for more knowledge about why I do what I do, and they're also so accepting of the answers that I give. I mean, my youngest Rufus asks why I wear nail polish, and it's a simple answer of I like wearing it. Sometimes he comes back, well, only girls wear that, and again, it's just challenging the kind of societal views that there's gendered things that people who are born male or people who are born female kind of can't do, and just tell them that, you know, anyone can wear what they want to make them happy. So yeah, I get asked about the makeup, I get asked about the clothing. Ellie's a bit older, and she is doing pretty well at using they them pronouns for me, so she's getting pretty good at that. Sometimes, obviously, because she's in primary school, so they do teach, you know, the very subjective pronouns of he, her, she, her. So sometimes she kind of struggles to understand they, them, but for a singular person. But you just put it into conversation, and it makes sense for her, and she does use it. I'm playing Xbox with the kids, for example. My avatar on Forza Horizon 5 is pretty much me. It dresses like me, and it's got the pronouns they, them. And she was asking, "Oh, why is he doing that?" I said, "Well, it's not he, it's they." She's like, "So why are they doing that?" And it's, you can see little cogs in her brain working, and kind of unlearning what society tells you is the right thing. Language changes, language evolves. Anyone who denies that is a bit of an idiot. And it's just learning new ways of speaking and new languages. And yeah, so they're really good at that. And I think one of the toughest questions they've asked recently is why me and my ex-wife broke up. And it's a pretty hard one to answer, because we never fought as a married couple in front of the kids, or pretty much rarely at all. We were a happy married couple. There was nothing wrong with the relationship. And it's just trying to explain to the kids that when I came out as non-binary, my ex-wife is straight, and the attraction wasn't there. So it's just trying to explain that to kids in the nicest possible way. But then that comes into then explaining different sexualities with them and things like that. So it's good to speak to them. It's good to open and honestly answer all the questions they get. And obviously, the more questions they answer, the more they know, and the more accepting they'll be, not just for me, but for their friends as well. And then the final question I had was, is it okay to include non-binary people in gendered events? So recently we had International Women's Day 2 weeks ago. Now, I have non-binary friends who were assigned female at birth, and they're in both camps with this. So some of them will still want to celebrate International Women's Day because they still feel that connection to womanhood, and they were raised as women, and they recognise and emphasise with the fight that women have against the patriarchy, and they will still want to beat the drum of women. Yet women are brilliant. I mean, they are. And so some still connect to that. Some don't, and their argument is that when you see events which are geared towards women and non-binary people, that it's very easily perceived and probably normally correct that if an event is geared towards women and non-binary people, it means women and non-binary women. So women who are assigned female at birth are now non-binary. and they see that as people not counting non-binary as an other gender, and just seeing it as women light. And they're completely right. I think that a lot of the time that is the case, where if you're going to include women plus non-binary people and it's only assigned female at birth, then you're not counting non-binary people not as women. You still count them as women, and they're not. So it all depends on a person. There's different views, there's different camps, there's different reasons about why we should or we shouldn't be included in these specific gendered days. I mean, I know there's an International Men's Day for all, the cis white men who kick off that they don't get celebrated enough. There is one. Would I want to be included in any kind of celebrations for that? No. Because I'm not a cis man. I'm not a man. I'm happily non-binary. And we do have our own International Day of Recognition for non-binary people. So for me, I don't want to be included in specific gender days. But again, every non-binary person is different. There's no one answer which is going to cover everyone's opinion. And along with that, there's different categories of non-binary, as I've mentioned in the past. You've got the trans umbrella, where you've got trans man, trans woman, and non-binary. With the non-binary, you have gender fluid, you have gender flux, you have demi-girl, demi-boy, and so many other ones. And each different person who recognises and identifies with a different label may feel in completely different ways to this type of question. So there is no easy answer, but I can tell you my view, which is I wouldn't like to be included. But again, if you're unsure, if you know a non-binary person and you want to know if they want to be included, ask them. They're not going to be offended. They're going to feel better that you've asked them their opinion before just doing something off the cuff. Speak to them, get their understanding, and then you've learned something. So those are the questions for this week, and thank you very much for sending them in. Really interesting questions to discuss this week. And this is where I open the floor for you to send in questions for next week. So reach out to me on the comment section, reach out to me on social media. Any question where you wouldn't feel comfortable maybe asking someone in person, but you want to know how to address certain things. Anything regarding sexuality, queerness, gender identity, whatever, send the questions in to me. Please make sure you like, share and subscribe to my videos as well. The more people who see these videos, the better the inclusion and the better understanding people have of what being non-binary means. And in the meantime, stay safe and stay friendly, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.